to this computer. Okay. All right, so this meeting is being recorded and will be distributed to general counsel after the meeting. All right. So I'm hoping to keep this short. Fingers crossed.
Awesome.
All right, so oops.
Are we recording?
We are recording, and I was just about to, I can share the agenda if that helps. Here it is.
I got mine printed here.
Oh, okay. All right, then I don't.
Call this meeting in order.
Yep.
We have a quorum.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
All right. So, um, whenever you're ready, Dakota.
Awesome. Give me 1 sec.
Yeah. Let's see if I can make it any bigger. Well, that helps.
Y'all, I am from Royal Bank to reset our password.
Yep. Should I share what happened today on that aspect? Sarah had called me and said something was wrong with my DocuSign. I logged in and mine said was checked off as green, like everything was good. So have no idea what the problem was. So she has to resend it out to us, which she has now. But so we got to redo that one. So is that about where we're at, Dakota?
Um, yes. So I got into our online banking earlier today. I set it up.
Oh, that's right. You did manage to get in. So.
Yup. Since then, however, it seems that someone has tried to log into it and locked it out because there was too many failed login attempts.
Okay.
That wasn't you, Greg?
That was not me.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I have is logging into the DocuSign site. So
I can make a, did they show any addresses or anything as to who was trying to do that?
I don't believe so. Let me check in one second.
press.
Okay, cool. Got us logged back in.
All right.
Um, my bad, y'all. Okay, I am back. Um, so for reports, um, reports is we have bank access, online login has been changed. Same with the password. Um, I guess my question is, who do I share that with?
You have login access?
Yes.
You, Greg, and some member of the financial committee, possibly Carol, I'm
Okay.
guessing.
Greg, you okay with that?
Yeah, I guess so. Um, I gotta first let me get through the DocuSign thing.
Yep.
So I'll try to do that tomorrow when I get to work.
But yeah, that's where we're sitting at on that. Next move is I will be meeting with Carol to go over our bank statements just because I was not sure who should have the login and stuff, and Carol lives the closest to me. So I was just going to go to her house with it logged in on my laptop and have her help me figure out which statements we need specifically and what information from our online banking would be the most helpful for the finance committee. Um, I called Jonathan Farasi,
Okay.
Farasi, who is the person that holds the lease for the office. I'm going to get switched. I'm going to be made the granitor, I believe is the word that he used. Um, which goes into the next question is that there should be keys left there for us because Sharon and Joe were there today moving stuff out. Um, John told me that as when he spoke to her that she would be leaving keys. But if there aren't keys there, we would have to make a new set, which we will be charged for. The next question he asked is, would we want to change the locks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that is the next step is I think we should. My plan is I'm going to call him tomorrow. So I will just let him know that regardless of whether the keys were left or not, we would like
Yeah.
the locks changed. Um,
By the way, it's
next,
been made very clear to Sharon that she cannot take any records or paperwork out of that office. Is that correct?
I don't believe it has, but I can do that.
Okay.
I will send that in an email and CC you both in it.
Mm-hmm.
Next step, election committee ready to send out the ballots. I see that that already got sent out. That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. Love that.
Sounds like we got some pretty good candidates.
Yep. And then the only thing I have for the finance committee is where did it go?
Is Carol Thangamajig?
So there was one from Carol about the update, which I believe we all read.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. The second thing is a forward from Paul LeClure from Carol to me, and it is a NDA agreement between us and an auditor. It will need a signatory on it. I believe they want me to be the signatory on it, which I guess would make sense. I will have to reach out to this person because as it currently stands, I am not the name listed.
Would that be that Swan, whatever that's listed in
I
that
don't think
Carol
so.
said?
Swan was Sharon's person.
Yeah.
I was
I
gonna say
would
this is Anthony Gerlach.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would not recommend going with Swan just because they
Right.
have that background with Sharon and
Gotcha.
Joe.
Yeah, this is someone named Anthony Gerlach, with principal audit and assurance.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I guess next steps would be reaching out to them. Currently the NDA PDF that I have that would be signed has Paul listed as the signer. I would just have them change the name on that. So it's mine and I can sign in my name once that's done. I think we would be able to start on the audit. And I think that is it for what I have on updates.
Oh,
Give me 1 second. It's the agenda.
Next is restarting old business,
old
Yep.
business.
restarting meetings with Full Circle.
Yeah. So old business would be restarting meetings with Full Circle. Um, I think that looks good. I think we should do that. Um, I guess I'll put it up. Should we start meetings again with Full Circle now that we have access to the bank account and can start making
Uh,
moves towards, uh,
Based on what Carol sent from Sharon, they've been paid.
Mhm. Well, they've
yes,
been paid their first $12,000.
correct,
Oh,
There's going to be several payments over the
all
course
right.
of their service, so that's the first payment.
correct.
Yes, and that's been made. Okay, so I second that
Yep.
motion.
Awesome.
All, all in favor?
Ho,
Oh,
Aye.
all
All
opposed?
against? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dakota.
You're good. Sorry.
No, we're
Opposed.
just trying to get you to get it. And it's hard
Yep.
to understand. So,
so
okay, go ahead.
who is going to contact them and start re-establishing the meeting schedule?
I can contact them.
Okay.
Okay. Next order on old business is establishing a timeline for the submission of federal recognition petition. I would like to open the floor for discussion.
My opinion right off the top is that we have to wait till we at least get the new vice chair and treasurer,
Mm.
so we have a full sitting board. Um, and if they want to, I guess, look at the petition, the narrative, and in that before it gets submitted, that they should have that chance. So um, beyond that, you know, I don't know what the federal government's going to look like by then.
Yep,
Yeah. So yeah, my concern as well, I would say in addition to we need to sign, we'll need to sign a new set of letters with the new council.
Yeah.
In addition to that, I would finish, if we're going to do one last sweep with enrollment, I would finish that out so that we go in with the role we have. And I would recommend that this role become the new base role for the community.
yep,
And so from here on out, it's like, if you're going to be in this community, you went in with the federal rec, you didn't wait until all the dirty work got done.
I agree.
So the other thing, and I've talked about this, is that I would need to like fix a few things in that narrative, given what's happened over the last months, because we need to take those things into account.
Absolutely. So I would say we should we wait till at least end of June
Okay.
to bring back up submitting federal recognition because at that point, in theory, we would have enough time to open enrollment and close it, would have enough time to edit. We would also have the time that it would take to get our vice chair and treasurer into office and situated.
Yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Sounds
Um,
like a game plan.
awesome.
Mhm.
So I guess I'll put it forward that we reconvene on federal recognition in the end of June. Can I get a second?
I second.
Awesome. Uh, can I get votes for yay?
All
Oh,
in favor?
Well,
Aye.
all right. Votes against. All right, and it passes. Um, last part of old business will be issuing tribal IDs. I would like to open this for discussion.
so the first problem is well, it was getting the bank account, but now we have access to the bank account. So question two is who is doing this? I
Correct.
believe, Dakota, you have access to the notes that Steve Renville left behind.
I do.
Okay.
Well,
Uh,
can I make a proposal?
mhm.
Uh,
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
Steve doesn't have to be the vice chair, right? But if Steve wants to kind of do some of the tribal IDs because he knows what he's doing, I think that would be still an option for him, you know? Um, because I don't think he wants to resign from the community per se, He just wants to get out of the
Politics.
yeah.
Mhm,
Fair.
It's what drove Nick Anderson out, you know.
mhm.
Um. So
Yeah,
Okay.
I have no issue with that. I mean, I know I personally I don't want to take that on as another role. Um, I would say this also goes into like eventually,
the enrollment committee eventually.
Enrollment committee.
exactly, is eventually we should have an
Mhm.
enrollment committee and this would fall under the
Yeah.
jobs of said
And,
committee.
and maybe just sending a polite email out to Steve, ask and see if maybe he could carry the load of this until we get to that where we got an enrollment committee set up. You know,
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Does
Okay.
anyone want to shoot that email out?
Greg, I
Good.
feel it's better you than me. I think I don't know what has been said about me and how Steve feels about me at this point.
Yeah. Okay. I can.
Okay.
Awesome.
I
Um,
probably. Believe it or not, I'd probably give him a phone call.
okay.
You
I
know.
would also
I.
emphasize
I'm.
this is all he's doing because I know he
Yeah.
felt really overwhelmed by all of the tasks that kind of got thrown at him.
Yeah.
So just
All
to
the
say that,
tax
like,
and again, he was having some family
Yep.
stuff. So
yeah, well, yeah. But
Oh,
last we talked, he did say he just didn't know that the vice chairmanship was going to be that much work. And it
yeah.
just felt like there was one task after another.
And
So
he
it's just like, this is the
and
only
he was
thing
a
to
little
do.
concerned about. I didn't know I was signing myself up for being in charge of this financial thing that could be a disaster.
yeah.
Yes, so that was a whole
So
other set of questions. So I don't have the proposal for an enrollment committee in here, and I don't know whether how
Didn't we
quickly we
do
can
that
pull that up.
once before?
Once
But
what?
we got. I thought we had kind of talked about that at one of the other meetings.
It's like
Um,
floated it past a couple of times, and then it's been like we haven't really done anything with it.
yeah,
So
I think pretty much it's one of those things. We probably need to start that something once we get our full tribal council. Sound
yes.
why
good?
don't we put it up to then? Okay. So I would make a motion to let's contact Steve Renville and see if
Yep.
he would be willing to take over the IDs now that we have access to the bank accounts again.
Yeah.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh,
Aye. All against? None against? The ayes carry.
all right. Cool. So next section is new business. For new business, we have opening the roll, ideally from May 1st to June 1st, and confirming enrollment procedures. I'd like to open this up for discussion.
Okay. So I can start out because I feel like I've been doing a lot of the enrollment for the last while. Right now we have a form that we've been using. It's sort of a mishmash of self-generated material and then templates from the BIA. And at this point, like as far as strategy goes, it has been pretty much to contact people who are already in the community and get their families up to date if they have relatives that aren't on the rolls and want to be, or in some cases reaching out to people that we know of that had left for political reasons and wish to return now that those reasons are no longer extant.
Cool.
I am firmly opposed to any sort of open call. I think if you throw it on Facebook, you're just going to get like zillions of people, and this is not going to be good for FedRec.
Yeah.
So I prefer to go through the families that are already in the community and that have a history of being in the community back into the 90s and before.
Yeah. I think the only big open one what we're talking is if we ever make it to where we have federal recognition and the government says it's time to open the rolls because they will close the rolls for a short term.
Mhm.
So
But that's where my proposal would be that once we get the current roll finished and submitted, that is our new base roll. Going forward, if somebody is enrolling in the community, they have to have a parent, grandparent on whatever the 2025 roll ends up being. Because at some point, like you're demonstrating some sort of continued connection to the community.
Mhm.
And so that on the one hand takes in the people that we are already here, but we don't just have random people walking through the door. And I'm sure we can talk about adoptions or something on a case by case basis if we get somebody else that's
Now,
an
I got a
extraordinary.
phone call from a Jacob today.
Mm,
He's a descendant of Edith LeClaire. She was born in Mendota in the 1880s. I didn't go looking in any of the roles yet.
Give me a second, let me see. Oops, what am I doing? Wrong thing. Wrong website. Let me see, stop share, and let me go to my website here and look quickly at Ancestry. There we go. You'd be surprised what I can pull up sometimes.
Yeah.
Find tree, because I had to go and reconstruct all of these. Edith Ada LeClaire, 1880-1945.
Yeah. Okay.
So she is, give me a minute. She's a Robinette,
Okay.
but oh wait, oh, uh,
He's the Ojibwe.
uh-huh, yeah. So I think this may
I
be a
mean, there
problem.
there is those Robinettes who didn't understand that. So
And then yeah, Louis Tancred is just French. Yeah, yeah, he's Quebecois.
Louis Tancredi
Yeah, Louis Tancred. And then Henriette Robinette is the daughter of Joseph B. Robinette.
and Cecile,
That's Cecile Turpin.
who's an
So, and Cecile Turpin
Ojibwe.
she's Red River, yeah. So, yeah,
Yep. Fortunately, that's the other LeClaire line.
yeah, that's another LeClaire line, but they're
That's
not.
where the enrollment committee is going to have to know those things.
Yeah, well, this is where like some you or I have to be on the enrollment committee early on.
Yes.
I've got a whole I need to transfer all of my ancestry stuff over to a tribal account so that is accessible to whoever is doing enrollments going
That's
forward.
not to say I'm not going to help him with some of his family history.
Mhm.
Because Henriette was the one that was out at the cabin that they talking to Taoyate.
Mhm. But no, this is going to be a problem.
Yes, we're going to run into that, but those people are going to have to understand that if we get federally recognized, we could probably still, because there were a lot of Ojibways that lived in Mendota as well. The Baudettes, there's one the Baudette edition, Um,
Well, this is a problem we have in Mendota as well. You have Dakota parents and you have non-Dakota parents,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
And there's a couple other families like that where it crosses over. And this was a problem we often had with Sharon, is she would just hear her last name and she'd be like, "Oh, you're us," and it's like, "No, you're not." So we do need to, we hold the line on this.
Felix and Angelique, Clyde. What's Clyde's last name all of a sudden? um, Aim Clyde. Yeah, for some reason I can't get his name. Uncle Clyde.
Belcourt.
Belcourt, right.
Belcourt, yeah.
They were Mendota people,
Mhm.
But yeah, so there's going to be that. Now the question is, this is only after we get federal recognized.
Mhm.
We can start making some of those decisions. But it's going to have to be the general council that
Mhm.
makes those decisions.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. But yeah, this is why the enrollment committee going forward, one of us needs to be on there to start out, just so that it's very clear,
Yep.
where those lines are. It's like you have certain families where you've had adopted people that were adopted in, but they were white, and then so it's a mess sometimes. Or you have multiple marriages, and so half the kids are from a Dakota spouse and half of them are from a non-Dakota spouse. We'll figure that out. But yeah, so if you have anybody that has questions, Greg, you can forward them to me as well. Same with you, Dakota. And yeah, so that would be my procedure, is just we make an announcement through Constant Contact.
right.
I have a list of people that I'm going to be contacting because I reached out to them earlier, and then I know they were they either didn't get their paperwork back in or they expressed their reasons for not getting their paperwork in at the time.
Yep.
I'll be contacting those folks. If you want to see a list of that, I can make a list of those people at some point.
Awesome.
And Greg, like there's a bunch of Robinettes. I don't know what to do with them. I don't have contact information for most of them. So I don't want to say that's on you, but
All I can do is kick my other dead cousins in the
well, yeah,
not dead ones, but kick them in their dead rear end.
yeah, but the
I
problem
believe
is,
in the law only one applied, right?
yeah, one. I mean, what's his face? Louis Robinette had like 20 kids, right?
Yeah.
And all them had like 10 kids, and so I know they're out there somewhere.
Oh yeah,
Um,
but them are the ones from Santee down there. Is
yeah,
that
no,
family?
there's yeah,
That family moved to Santee.
no, Abraham? No, he didn't.
Louis Robin.
Oh, I'd say, but he's Abraham Louis Robinette, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I've
And I
had
don't know
you
why
say
they.
Abraham. You've got some cousins that say Louis. You
Yeah.
guys are like
Well,
second cousins.
technically, his name was Joe Louis, but you didn't want to call him Joe because you had Joe Robinette the son, and you had Joe Robinette the dad.
So yeah, I
They
don't.
weren't really big on names. They just kind of recycled names.
I'll send you a list of people, and if you happen to know any of them, likewise, like Nick Anderson and some of them, I don't
I
have
know
any
Nick,
contact.
and I can probably reach out to him.
Okay.
Then he might be willing.
Okay.
But like I said, he got his heart broken too, like I was. But I was able to stick it out.
But
You
I
know,
think emphasis being that we're not going to come back every 6 months and knock on the doors. This
yeah,
is this is it at this point, and then we want to get the federal recognition thing in.
yeah,
And going forward, enrollments are going to be limited to people who age up to 18. Um,
yeah.
and that's going to be it. So in the long term, we won't talk about this today. We do need a process also for getting records of people under 18 so that we just have, I've mentioned this before, we can just have a neat progression straight into enrollment at age 18 if they wanted. Okay, so do you have any thoughts, Dakota? Input?
Um, not really. I like the plan. Let's go through the families that are already here and the ones that we know wish to be here, I guess.
Mhm.
Those are the folks that we should be reaching out to because
Mhm.
you're right. There are a lot of us. I mean, if I reached out to every
And some
Quinn,
don't know.
yeah, and that's the thing is if I reached out to every Quinn, like the Quinn Marlowe's and LaCroix's that my family comes from, that all three of those families are on the rolls. They're also on the rolls over in Siston, and they have their own powwow because there's so many of them,
Yeah.
right? Like, so I guess that's another thing is that doing an open enrollment based off of these last names would be, we would get flooded. There's so many people. There's
Mhm.
so many people that are related to all of us. So,
Yes, yeah. And I mean, again, I think going forward, and I've talked with Jeff about this,
mm,
is engagement is important. That if we don't want people just sort of like dead souls on the rolls.
Is Jennifer Robinette enrolled?
So I've got Jennifer's documents. I think I'm missing one document from her, but I
Okay.
haven't been able to like get in contact with her. And there's that whole, it's what they call the Wyoming, she's part of the Wyoming
I know
crowd.
that other group that she's involved with on Facebook.
I know she was angry at Sharon, or Sharon was angry at her.
Oh.
And that's
Well,
the story
Sharon
of,
gets free at just about everybody.
but that was the story of her and of Connie,
Yeah,
that they both sort of, but they're related to the Scotts.
yeah.
And aren't they artists? Aren't they artists, relatives? Arta Scott,
I don't.
Arta Robinette Scott. You don't know her?
I,
Okay. I think they're related.
okay.
But yeah, I've reached out to Jennifer and she never got back to me, but I have a full file for her.
Yeah, the only Scots that I know come from the Beverly Scott.
Oh
You
no,
know.
no. There's some Robinette Scotts.
Oh, okay. Probably somewhere in the same family, I would bet then.
Oh yeah, they're all, there's that small group. You had one aunt or whatever that moved to Wyoming.
Yeah,
It's them.
that's that group, okay.
That's that group over there.
So,
Yeah. So okay. Anyway,
as far as
the
I know, she could still be alive.
I don't think she's alive, but I think that her kids or grandkids are still alive. So I've talked to them.
Yep.
It's just, some people are more engaged than others. I'll
Yep.
put it that way. Okay.
Right.
So I guess I think we've already voted to reopen the rolls, if I recall correct.
I don't know. Just to double check, I put it forward that we reopen the rolls from May 1st to June 1st.
All
have
in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All
Awesome.
again? The ayes pass. The motion passes.
All right. Any other business items we want to bring up? That's the last thing.
I don't think so.
Okay. I'm gonna
My
go
only
ahead.
thing
Yeah.
I want to do is when we get to the point of the general council, this is after we've got the full tribal council, right? Is to get my position changed to an at-large enrollment, member at large. So that'll give a chance for somebody out there. It'll take a little bit. It's one of those ones we're gonna have to. It's got to get changed within the Constitution, So those are some of the language that's got to start to get kind of worked on a little bit. So,
So that can be part of the Constitutional Committee.
huh?
That can be part of the Constitutional
Yeah.
Committee's work.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is taking the THPO or historian
Yeah,
off of the
taking
council.
Dippo off the council and making a member at large. Like I think at one point we had 2 members at large.
Mhm.
We can never fill them both, but yeah, that's kind of the position I had at first.
Mhm.
So
What do you think about that, Dakota?
Just so I have this as clear as can be, because it has been a long day. You would like to change the historian officer position to just being a historian, and the officer position or the role of voting member would change to a member at large position.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
Because I think the tribal historic preservation officer of the other communities isn't on the tribal council. It's a kind of a hired position, and you probably should have an archaeology degree and probably Native American studies.
Mhm.
Maybe we won't have that right away, but we can try to get some young person into college, and next thing you know, 4 years, we got
Awesome.
somebody ready to step in.
Cool.
Yeah, we don't want, you're right, it is an elected position. It doesn't really make sense because you have to have all of these qualifications.
Yeah.
And now you're saying that like every 4 to 8 years, you've got to come up with somebody else who's going to have those qualifications.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah, I agree with that.
And
Okay.
of course, it would be serve at the thing of the tribal council.
Right.
That would be one of those positions you serve, at the tribal council's will, or whatever they call that.
So what I would recommend is that actually we hold this for now, and then once the Constitutional Committee is brought
Is
into existence in June,
needed.
this can go forward as a recommendation from the Tribal Council to the
Okay.
Constitution Committee.
Absolutely.
Get that down. Okay, do we have any other news or business before we adjourn?
I think so.
Okay. Call to adjourn,
Second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
I
Okay.